Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to bacon wrap smoked potatoes. Stay tuned. A couple of things. You're going to need a bowl. You're going to need your potatoes washed and rinsed. You're going to need some extra virgin olive oil. You are going to need some salt. You're going to need bacon and foil paper and a fork. What you want to do first is, like any other videos that I've shown you doing smoked or baked potatoes, you want to use a fork or something to stab the potatoes with. So just kind of give them a once over. Alright, so now that you have your potatoes, I guess you would call this tenderized, right, by stabbing a fork through them. The next thing you want to do is you want to get a little bit of this extra virgin olive oil, and the way I like to do it is I just like to put some on my palm and just give your potatoes a light coating around the Alright, so the next step in the process is you would want to put a little bit of salt on them. You're going to put a little bit of pepper. The next step after this is to actually wrap them in your bacon. And at this time I'm also going to pull out the amount of foil paper that I'm going to need so I can lay them here on the counter, and that way I can use it as my table before I actually wrap them. So since I'm doing 5 potatoes, I'm going to pull out 5 of these. Now these are baked potatoes, so depending on the size of your potato, this should take about 2 strips of bacon. Alright, now that you have your potatoes nice and wrapped, the next step is to take them outside to the grill. I'll meet you guys over there. Alright guys, so we're out here in my grill. This method of smoking these baked potatoes can be done in a traditional barbecue pit. It can be done in a propane smoker. It can be done in an electric smoker. The concept is the same. Just make sure you keep the temperatures at or where you need them to be. Now if you are going to do it on a charcoal or a wood burning or a stick smoker, you got to make sure you got to follow these directions right here. You want to make sure that you put the heat source on one side of your grill, because you are going to directly put these potatoes on there for a certain amount of time and then move them over. Okay, so if you are going to do this method, make sure you have some room where you can put your heat source on one side and then be able to set them off to the side afterwards. Alright, so at this point what you're going to do is you're actually going to put your potatoes over the heat source for 15 minutes on one side and then 15 minutes on the second side. You close your lid. The temperature you want to try to reach at is about 300 to 350 degrees. All right, 300 to 350 degrees is a good temperature to be at. And after 15 minutes, I'm going to flip them over. Alright guys, so it's been 15 minutes the next step here, if you, I don't know if you can see from there, but my temperature has been hovering at around 300 degrees, more or less. So I know that it's getting sufficient heat. This next step would be to flip your potatoes over once. Let me... Alright guys, so it has been 15 minutes on the second side, and let me see if I can get this. My temperature is hovering at about 350 more or less, if I can read it right. Yeah, about 325, 350. So the next step in this process is to actually move your smoked potatoes to the other side. It does take about an hour after this. After your first 30 minutes, it does take an additional hour. But if you don't want to be playing the guessing game, I would recommend you get yourself a internal meat probe, something that looks like this. You know, I have a digital one. Right now it's reading that it is, what, about 82 degrees outside. It's a pretty decent day here in Texas. I'm going to stick this one inside the biggest potato that I have, right in the middle. Because believe it or not, a potato, like meat, has an internal temperature that will tell you when it's ready. Okay, so the internal temperature for a potato to tell you that it's ready is at 210 degrees. The only thing you need to keep an eye on for the next hour, hour and 15, however long it takes to get to that internal temp of 210, is keep this temperature hovering between 300, 350, even up to 375. Alright guys, so we're back. My temperature has been kept steady at about 350 degrees. So my indicator here is telling me that the internal temp of my potatoes has already hit the 210. You know, and I always like to double check. I know I did it right in the middle of this one, but I always like to double check just to make sure. Ah, son of a biscuit, it's hot. Son of a, yeah, it went in like butter. So let's look at, see what it looks like. 208. Yeah, that means it's good to go. So now the next thing to do after this is you're gonna pull these babies out, and you're gonna let them sit for a little bit, a couple of minutes, just so they can rest. I'm gonna use this now. You're gonna pull these out and you're gonna let them rest for about a couple of minutes before we go in here and we see what we have. Alright, so we're back. These potatoes have been sitting for about 5-6 minutes just to let them give it a chance to cool off a little bit. We're gonna open these up to see what they look like. Alright, I'm just gonna open up one of them. You can smell the bacon. Right, so that's what these guys look like. Flip it over to the other side. Cut this open. There it is. Yeah, this is ready to eat. All right. At this point, you have your bacon wrapped potatoes. The normal things that normally what you normally want to use is a little bit of cheese, a little bit more of salt and pepper, and some butter. And some sour cream, maybe some chives, whatever else you wanna go to town with this. This should be good to go. But that's how you do bacon wrapped smoked potatoes. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. If you have any other questions or suggestions, please let me know. Please check out my videos, like and subscribe to keep up with the latest and greatest. But once again, this has been the Smoking Beard, showing you how to bake smoked potatoes wrapped in bacon. See you guys on the flip side.